Love and more than love, like never playing for the swap of love, hard control to learn from love, life, relationship, listen for love, Jones. Love and more than completion, but talking with love, Jones. When everyone gone, you feeling alone. You have love, Jones. Love, life, and relationships, work with love, Jones. Love, life, love, relationships.
Hey, beautiful people. Welcome to Love Jones, where heart speaks, minds open, and love gets real. I'm your host, DeeJai, and tonight we're diving into a timeless question that never quite gets old. What is love really? Yeah, we say the word all the time. We say it in movies. We sing it in songs. But how often do we actually stop and ask ourselves, do I even know what love really means? Love is tricky. It's one of those things we feel before we understand. It shows up as butterflies, but it sticks around as choices. It begins in emotions, but it grows into intentions. Now, let's talk about it. Let's really talk about it. So, let's clear some things up, first of all. Sometimes what we call love, baby, that's just infatuation wearing a cute little outfit. Lust is physical, infatuation is emotional, but love is spiritual. It's intentional and deeply human. Love isn't just about the fireworks, it's about who stays after the fire burns out. I want you to think about it. Love is not just a feeling, it's a doing. It's easy to say I love you, but love shows up in how we listen, how you show up, how you respect boundaries, and even how you fight for that person. Do you love only when it's convenient, or do you love when it's hard, when someone's at their lowest, not their best? Do you still love them? I mean, this is something that I struggle with daily. I'm like, you need to bring your best of your best. But sometimes that person is not going to bring their best. Does that mean that you don't love them anymore? Love is like a daily choice. The text that you send to check in, the silence you hold during someone's pain, the apology you give even when your pride says no. And this is something that I feel like the entire world struggles with. The ego and pride, we have to put it aside. Now, can we talk about the foundation of all love? Self-love? If you don't know how to love yourself with grace, with patience, with honesty, how can you really offer the same love to anyone else? Self-love isn't just like a bubble bath or, I'm going to treat myself to a spa day. It's also holding yourself accountable. It's setting boundaries and walking away when something doesn't serve you peace or a purpose. Love begins within, always. And this is something that I myself had to learn throughout my years, that, I don't need that validation from someone else. Love and happiness is going to come, and it's going to start from within inside of me. Well, I can go on and on about love. However, I do have a special guest. A really special guest, and I'm just kind of excited to introduce her. So I am introducing my good friend, Juliana Pozo from New York, with a criminal justice degree and a minor in psychology, currently pursuing master in clinical mental health with lived experience. And I tell y'all, if don't nobody know about love and what love really is, my girl Julie gonna know. Hi, Julie!
Hey, thank you so much for actually hosting this amazing, wonderful space and for inviting me.
Yes. I mean, I'm really excited. When I started this podcast, I was sitting on my bed and I was kind of reminiscing on a situation that I had, and I was just like, I'm so grateful that I broke through what I thought that love was. Because sometimes we be head over heels for somebody and we be so in love, and then years later when things don't work out, we was like, was I really in love? So I was like, you know what? I want to start a podcast, and I wanted the podcast to be Love Jones. So let me ask you the big question. The question of the day: what is love really? What is it?
Such a big question. So it depends who you ask. If we ask kids, what is love? If we were to ask our parents, what is love? If we were to ask our grandparents, what is love? Love has its unique definition depending to whom we ask it to. According to the ancient Greeks, if we want to take it back to ancestry, they actually had a very unique definition, but they also had different types of love. Mm-hmm. So love for the ancient Greek was not under one category. They actually defined love in 8 different categories. 8? 8.
Oh, okay.
So the way that they basically categorized this or compartmentalized it was in 8 different categories, because it is not feasible for you to have the same kind of love that you feel for your child, that you feel for a loved one who is of the opposite sex or the same sex when you have intimacy with that person.
It makes sense, because I feel like for my kids, I definitely have that unconditional love for them. But for my man, baby, baby, that's like a craving, you know? The kids got on, I'm like, oh, I miss them, but okay, y'all can stay a couple of days, but you have that man and he's gone, and I'm like, no, what doing? Yeah, so, okay, that explains it. I mean, okay.
That type of love that you're referring to, they refer to as eros love. It's the EROS. That's the passionate love. That's the romantic love that you feel towards another person. And that type of love, it's different. That one actually details desire. That type of love goes a little bit deeper. It actually is the one that you feel in the early stages of a relationship. It's the type of love that you feel that if you're not with that person, something is missing. You're like, I didn't speak to that person today. So you don't really know what it is, but you're like, oh my God, I'm missing something. And it's because you're building a new relationship. You're building this new bond. And just the voice of that person, it's already becoming accustomed to you. And it's becoming part of you. And so that actually feeds that love part in your life. It actually starts filling that bucket in your life. So that's the eros love.
Okay, so I know when you just spoke about that feeling that you feel at the beginning of the stages, like, I've definitely done my research, and most scientists believe that love is not real love. You know, that's why they say to actually love somebody, you have to build that. That's why those feelings that come and that crush you have, it be so strong.
Baby, that is the intense, the thrilling, the chills, and that's the one that makes you fail.
Yeah.
That's the type of love that makes you go blind, sighted. It makes you deaf, because it actually tunes you out.
It does.
And it makes you lose coherency and what actually is logistic and rational. So you lose all sorts of values and morals, and
so basically you said you lose your brain.
a little bit. This is when we actually that euphoria wakes up in us.
Okay.
And we totally get tintillated, and we just actually, we really just focus on the physical feelings that this other person gives our body.
That dopamine.
It's dopamine that actually goes crazy. It's adrenaline rush that takes over us, and it just makes our bodies go haywire.
I think Nicki Minaj said it the best. The worst addiction I have is addicted to a man.
Oh my. So we would like to also keep it very open, because this kind of love is also felt within the same sex. It's not only towards a heterosexual, preference. It's definitely amongst their kind of sexual preference. And it necessarily doesn't have to happen within only a heterosexual or a opposite sex person. It can also happen when people become obsessive, which is another type of love.
Okay, so what you mean when people become obsessive?
So obsessive is another one for mania, which is my number 8 in the category.
Okay,
It's
well, let me, because I definitely want to know about obsession. Okay.
The number 2, it's philia. Philia, it's actually the deep friendship that is developed.
Okay.
And that's another form of love. That's actually the connection that you make with a friend or within a relationship that's actually composed of building that trust, building that honesty, feeling that you can be yourself around that person, feeling that you can definitely just lay yourself out. They can hear you and they won't pass any kind of judgment.
Right. That person that you can really be yourself with, that friend, you know what I'm saying? That friend that makes life just a tad bit more worthwhile, especially when you're going through things,
You also share some values and morals with this kind of deep friendship connection. This is actually the kind of relationship that you can actually say, hey, did you hear that song? And in this song, it resonates that it may be a gospel song. And that's actually something that you may be a Christian and she may be of a different denomination.
Right.
You don't want to cross the boundary of disrespect her faith background, but you're still very cautious and you're still able to respect her background and her faith and what religious purposes she may come from. But you're still able to share that value. You're still able to share that liking for that music because the content of it is there.
Right.
So it's more deep. It's more respect. It's actually the foundation is founded on respect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's more like, I understand what you say. I hear what you say. But whatever you feel, still going to respect you for who you are.
Right. And can you say also, for me, a lot of times when I do think of love, I do think of unconditional, you know what I'm saying? Because I do personally feel like, you could love somebody, you could be in love. I think being in love isn't just an emotion. It comes and goes. But actually loving somebody, I feel like you have to love them unconditional because we're all different types of, human beings. You know what I'm saying? We grew up differently. We have different values and morals. But when you come together and you connect and, when you really love them, you still love them no matter what. Like I have some friends, we might not be completely on the same bracket, but I love them girls, like those are my friends. Yeah. Like I love them unconditionally. It's like no matter what, I don't care what I go through, what they go through, like those are my friends to the end, So it's like, do you feel like familial love is also connected with eros in some ways?
Yes, they are all interconnected. Allow me to go back to something that you said. You said that love comes and goes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I said being in love.
Okay.
Because there's times when I've dated somebody and, I'm like, oh, I'm so in love with them. And throughout that period of time, my expectations for them kind of, they're not living up to those expectations. So I'm just like, oh, like I'm not in love no more. I'm not feeling those butterflies, but I love them. I'm here. I'm sticking it out.
So here's the other half to the sentence that you said. Unconditional love sets no expectations.
Well, girl, I'm trying to teach myself that.
So in one of the 8 of the love forms is agape love. And agape love, agape love, it's a term that I learned very, very early on by going to retreats in church. I grew up Catholic my whole life as a child. And that meant Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
That meant Sundays, I had to dress like a little Daughters of Mary with all white and a little veil. And it was something. So we learned that the way that our higher power loves us is unconditional. And so that type of love is not transactional.
It's not.
That type of love doesn't have any expectations. That type of love doesn't really have any kind of expectations. So when we have our eros love is the one that we have passionately with someone. So we have the feelings of the outside. So we feel physical and our bodies react. Then when we go to the second one, which is the filial love, is the friendship one. This is the one that really feels our values, and it actually helps us feel better about ourselves, because at times we need validation. We actually like to feel heard, respected, admired, and we like to feel that the values that we feel actually are in alignment with somebody else, so that we can actually feel a little bit like we mean something to someone, or that we're doing something, or that we're part of something. We're humans. Humans crave touch. We crave sight. We crave senses.
Yes, we crave feelings.
So we crave feelings. Yes. We crave emotions. We feel them.
Yes.
And when we actually feel, and we say that we were actually touching on familial love. And so I actually mentioned how that's the love between a child and a parent.
Right.
So the important thing about this kind of love is that there are other people that can integrate into this familial love. So we were also discussing about how there can be an outsider that can observe, like another friend of your child that can observe from the outside looking in and become part of that family. So that child now actually also becomes part of that familial love. It's where that child doesn't feel like an outsider. He's also part of the family now. He feels loved. He feels welcomed. He feels received. He feels like he's cared for. And that is actually storage. That is actually part of the familial love.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we're growing up, and it's like the adoptive kid.
Right.
That term. That's where we hear that term.
So many.
When we used to hear the term, oh yeah, that's the adoptive kid. It's because in that home, that child actually felt that familial love.
Okay.
And so they would always say, oh yeah, that's mama. That's not your mama.
Right.
That's mama. And that's my dad from another family. Oh, that's my cousin from another family.
Right.
It's actually because that child might have grown in that family or was close to that family. They might have known each other from church or from a community event, or, through cousins, or just basically part of, and became really part of that family nuclei.
Okay.
And then we have the ludus. The ludus love is the flirtatious love.
I should know about this.
That's the playful love. That's the one that you actually don't necessarily need to insinuate yourself to that person, but whenever you see that person, there's always some little flirtatious something that happens between you and that person.
I'm about to say, is it from you or that person doing both? Both. Okay.
It's an exchange.
Okay.
It's an even exchange sometimes. So it's lighthearted. It's not malicious.
Of course. Yes.
It's not malicious. It's not heavy. It's not insinuation with, how would I say this? Harassment.
Right.
For example.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Okay. So would you say, going back to my experience in my younger days, I used to give that I was flirtatious.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. That was just who I was. I was that nice, bubbly girl. I was kind. I was sweet to you, no matter who you were. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, they were like, oh, she okay. But guys would think I was literally flirting with them, and I was not flirting with them.
I want to consider that to be like the butterflies and Benjamin.
Okay.
It's like the one with the girls that I too fit in that category.
Okay.
I too, my daddy used to call me coqueta. In Spanish, that's coqueta is a flirt.
Right.
It's a little flirtatious. Right. It's a happy term, right? And it's also normally perceived as negative because some people and cultures perceive that as being bad.
Promiscuous.
Correct. which is not a good thing,
It's
right?
not.
But you're just being friendly.
Yes.
And that friendly sometimes can actually not be taken lightly.
Correct.
So that Ludus kind of love is that kind of love.
Hey, I used to be that girl with that kind of love.
We're moving on to the nice, heavy one.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
So, pragma.
Pragma.
Pragma, it's the one that actually holds the compromise and the maturity of love. This is the heavy, real deal one. That's the endurance of maturity in love. This is the one that tells you, let's stand for the test of love. Let's see if I actually have an accident and they have to amputate my leg. Are you still going to hold me down?
Oh, that was serious.
Like, that's very serious. That's the type of love that is not about, are you going to help me pay my bills this month if something happens to me? And we live in opposite homes, and you have your home and I have my home. No, this is the one that really tests how far are you willing to commit.
Okay. When those situations arise.
When the situation arises. This is that level of mature love. This is all in or nothing.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like, and it's just not necessarily, I only live in one region, so I really don't know, but I feel like I see a lot of people kind of move away from that type of love, especially in these days. Like, sometimes love is really transactional. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can I get out of you? What can you do for me? Like, why am I inserting my life in your life? What am I benefiting from it? And it kind of reminds me, like, what happened to the love? You know what I'm saying?
This is the long term. The type and style of loving. This is the one that used to exist when people used to say, oh, we've been together 45 years.
This is the one you have to build. Oh my gosh.
This is actually
the one that you build. Yes.
This is not the one that when my husband cheated on me with the girlfriend from the job, I actually decided to just say, have at it and go with her. Right. This is the one that I said, I choose to stay because I'm your wife.
Right. I choose to stay because we gonna get through this.
And that's a very heavy topic. That's for another conversation.
We gonna get through this.
But this is the one that actually totally builds on, within lengths of years, compassionate, lovingly, tolerant, patience, and putting us first. So this is actually...
how do you get that type of love?
So both partners have to be willing to commit.
Yeah.
This is the one that actually is enduring through life changes. This is the one that is not only when we're young. This is not the one that happens when we actually change and go through a midlife crisis. This is the one that happens when your menopause comes and the hot flashes come, and he's going through andropause. Because women also go through andropause.
They do.
So we go through all these changes by stages. And so we all have hormonal situations that our bodies endure, and our bodies don't know how to react to it. But if our partners actually coach us out and back us out and are there to help us, with the burden, and we understand that we're not alone, the burden becomes an easier load to carry.
Right.
It just becomes a little easier, It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that we're not going to go through our challenges and have our barriers personally to process these things. But when you have somebody that actually alleviates it and makes you feel comfortable and tells you it's okay to feel like shit today.
Right.
Baby, I'm going to feel like shit with you.
Yeah, and that's when you go and get her some chocolates and her favorite ice cream, and you know what I'm saying, just lay in the bed with her. Are you selling this? Are you guys listening? Oh. I just had to throw it out there for us, ladies.
This would actually drive us into, of course, the agape love that I had spoken about. Of course, it would have to follow the mature love.
Right.
Because agape love is that selfless love.
Selfless. It is selfless.
It is 100% the most selfless form of love. And that's the love that God has for us. Or your higher power. I will make that correction. Someone is actually being able to love you through your flosses or offering you compassion no matter to what length. I employ agape love because in my position today, I have been working with the unhoused or homeless population for the past 3 years.
Yes.
So this is the kind of love that I have to exhibit every day. And I say I have to because if I'm not willing or if I'm not able to give this kind of love, then I should not be having my job.
Right.
I could not be in that position, and I should not have a position in social services working with that type of population. It takes a different type of love for you to have while you work with that population. So that is the agape love. It is selfless to the core of your body. 100%. I mean, it is the most. Then the philatia love is the one that you consider to be the most important one.
Is it?
You said it was that love that you have for self.
Yes.
It is the love that you have to have for you.
Yes.
That love that is not shaken by anybody else.
Yeah.
That says, I come first.
And the thing about that, like I said, how are you able to really love someone else if you don't have that self-love? Like, you have to set the standard for how somebody can love you, you know, and if you don't love yourself, you're going to fall for anything. You got to have those boundaries.
The most important thing about philatia love is that you, number one, cannot be a narcissistic person. You have to die to self and understand that it only can come from a place of honoring yourself in a very, very respectful way. You do unto others as you would like to be done unto you. Therefore, if you like to be treated like a human being in a kind, respectful manner, you have to treat others in that same manner. And the same will apply to animals. The same will apply to strangers. The same will apply to anything that walks in the face of the earth. In any capacity. So that kind of love, if you can give it to a bird, you can't give it to yourself. Even if you're not a bird lover, you still have to be able to have some compassion for that life.
You have to.
It's a life form. For me, it's something or anything that actually represents life. I cannot be able to provide love if I'm not able to give it to self. Yep, it's impossible for me. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, I
couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
I definitely do agree because there were times that I loved someone more than I loved myself. You know, I was willing to allow it to be whatever it was because I was just like, oh, I just love them so much. And I had to wake up and be like, I'm important. You know what I'm saying? I'm important to me. You know, I have to love me enough to know that I don't need another human being's validation. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to have that. Like, I love me. As the song say, I love me enough for the both of us. Go, you know, go do what you do. I love me and you, you know? So I definitely do agree with you just really have to have that self-love in order to really know what love really is.
On the other side of that balance, we go to the mania type of love, which is the one that I actually explained to you was the obsessive one. That's actually the one that's possessive. That's the one that actually is completely fueled by the fear of abandonment in that person. You don't know this, but the way that they say, but you don't understand how much I just love you. I can't stand seeing anybody else with you. Well, you may want to be very cautious because what it is that love, that suffocating style of loving and feelings of emotions are deeply rooted within that person. And they are just basically showing it out to you because that's what love looks to them.
Yep.
That's what that is for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a maniac kind of love. It's not a healthy love. It's completely the opposite of self-love. Yes. It is not love at all. Yeah. It is suffocating, and it is completely negative. Yeah. A maniac kind of love is extremely dangerous. It can actually basically allow the person to lose sight of the feelings that they feel. Possessive love is the love that can definitely turn into the heat of passion and terminate a person's life. And so...
Oh, that's craziness.
It is craziness. So when it actually reaches that level, they can plead insanity in the act, which is something to not take lightly. Oh, yeah. To see and on the passion and on the commitment of what love actually is. But most importantly, the neurobiological perspective of love. Like, what does that look like? How does that actually activate in regions of our brain, and how it actually articulates and how it leaves our bodies? And you actually touch on it in the beginning, is our dopamine, how it makes our heart race. What does our actions look like once that actually hits us? What does that healthy love life look like? Right? Like that component that we just spoke about. Like, what does that actually look like? And so on and so forth. I think that through the podcast, as you actually develop various themes that you have to actually work on, it would all come together. And every single segment is going to bring about new things. And it's just going to be interconnected.
It is.
Very, very, very excited to see how this actually will unfold. And from like the neurobiological experience, I can say that love itself is just centered on a human development and a relation experience. It all depends and is all weaved within our experiences, personal experiences, and we define it with how we have been through it. Some people can define love as being the worst thing that they can ever experience. It's fugazi. It's a lie. It's fake. It doesn't exist, because that has been their experience. Others can speak highly about it and say, well, my family has the best love that I have ever experienced. Right. Nobody can compare to it. Yes. And so in different areas, in those 8 different areas, like the ancient Greek actually, compartmentalized them, we will forever be able to find different humans with different experiences. And what that looks like for us depends on how we want to develop it and how we want to make it look like in our homes. The more we learn about it, the more skills we can actually acquire into how we want it to look for us and what twist we want to give it.
Yes.
And eventually, what and where do we find a medium of what love is and what looks like for us? So thank you so much for the space.
Yes, of course. I love it. Thank you for joining in and, taking your time out. I've definitely learned a lot today. I learned a few things that I didn't know. I wasn't familiar of when it comes to the different types of love. Thank you for bringing the science part into it for us today.
There's so much more to dig in.
Yes, I know.
It's like opening up a can of worms, right? We start with one thing, and that's not even the surface.
We will be here all day.
So more like a retreat.
But
so much.
Yes, of course. But what love really is. Love is action. It shows up in how we treat people, not just how we feel. Love is consistency, not grand gestures, but everyday presence and reliability. Love is boundaries. Real love doesn't mean you lose yourself. It respects limits. Love is accountability. You can't grow in love without honesty. Love is acceptance, not trying to fix someone, but accepting who they are, flaws and all.
Included,
yes. So, guys, what's one belief about love you now question? Ponder on that. And again, I want to thank you guys for joining us today. This will be the conclusion. I would like to say, keep God first and lead with love. Would you like to end with anything, Julie?
No. Love wins. Have a great evening.
And that's it today.
You have tuned in completely with your girl, DeeJai, on Love Jones.
Until next time, love hard, love honest, and always love yourself first.
Love, life, and relationships.